Today we're going to talk about how do you make CRM stick? How do you make it a long-term engine to transform your business, to make you leaner, meaner, more responsive, more profitable, make things easier for your people, make it easier for your prospects, your customers, your partners, suppliers, you name it. So just make the system pay off for you. And that's really the key to CRM. It's not the short term. It's not a destination that you get it up and running and it's all done. It's a journey. It's a transformative engine that will pay off in the short term, in the long term, if you do it right. So let's talk about what it takes to do it right. First and foremost, what you're going to want to do is assign someone to be in charge of the CRM system. And this might sound like common sense to most of you, but we see it all too often that people will put in a CRM, they'll install it, they'll get it up and running, and they'll think the job is done. And there's no one really shepherding it or watching it. And if you can imagine, if you have an accounting software, which I'm assuming you do, someone's probably in charge of that accounting software. And someone's probably there to make sure that people are using it right. If there's changes that need to be made, if a report isn't working correctly, they find out how to fix it, or they go talk to someone who can. So there's someone in charge of that. We call that role the project champion. They're going to be vital to your success, both short and long term. So you're going to want to find someone to kind of own that project. So that person, that product champion, typically is going to be someone that has their fingers in the sales or customer service or the CSR experience. A lot of times we'll see it being a sales and marketing assistant. If you don't have someone in that role, then just pick someone that's got a little bit of tech savvy, that's not afraid of learning, that's in the sales team or the service team. Those people are great at this. Some people will put IT people in charge of it, but I think that's a mistake. You want to have someone that really understands the day in the life of the salesperson, because the goal here is adoption of the CRM. And so how do you get it to be adopted? Well, you have to think like a salesperson. You have to think like a service person. You have to say, what's in it for them? Because that leads to the second point, which is when we implement CRM, the whole point is adoption, not installation. It's adoption. So how do you get adoption? How do you overcome the resistance of habits that have been learned a certain way? How do you make it easy for people to use the software and actually want to use it instead of complaining about it or just passive aggressively not using it? Well, you got to think like a salesperson. I'm the world's laziest salesperson. And so for me and my team, I want the system to cater to me. I want it to be easy for me. I want it to be intuitive for me. I want it to just fit in naturally with what I do. I want it to take a lot of those busy work tasks off my plate and put it in the system and let the system do some of these things for me so I can focus on the things that I find to be fun as a salesperson. Talking with customers, finding solutions, making sure that we're taking care of our customers' needs. Those are the things that I relish, and I think most salespeople do. That's the kind of approach that most of your salespeople want to do. I don't want to be writing down on a piece of paper, I have to remember that I sent a proposal and I need to follow up next Tuesday, or that I met someone at a trade show and I need to send them out the email, I need to send them out the white paper and all these other things. You want to make sure that whoever your product champion is intimate with what the sales people do and the marketing people do and the customer service people do. And then you're going to want to make sure that they help those people do the third thing, which is create a wish list. So you want to actively solicit your users and say, hey, we know this thing isn't perfect, and you want to own it. You don't want to go in and act like it's perfect. It's not perfect. It'll never be perfect. So what you want to do is say, hey, we know this isn't working perfectly well. We know there's going to be little gaps. We know there's going to be some struggles. Tell us what those things are. And the more they tell you those things, the more you can write them on a wish list, and then you can actively make those changes. So you'll iteratively make changes over time. And it might be once a year, it might be once every 6 months. Some of our customers weekly are changing their CRM system. It depends on your budget and your appetite for change and your need for change. And that leads us to the fourth thing. The fourth thing is something that we can help you with. So we have this thing called OnTrack. It's a virtual coworker program. And essentially for a subscription price, you get access to our people in a Microsoft Team collaboration group, where you can go in and say, hey, Azamba team, we want to build this dashboard. We want to build this automation. My people's told me that there's a sequence of steps that we'd like to do every time we meet someone at a trade show, that we can automatically fire off these 5 tasks that we want to do for the person that we met. You want to make it easy for your sales reps. And the way to do that is to take full advantage of Dynamics. And so for a lot of our customers, it's not really reasonable to expect that you all know exactly what's going on with Microsoft Dynamics or the sister product, the smaller starter pack, CRM in a can. It's just not reasonable that you should know everything about that. If you do, great. But for a lot of our customers, they just need some expert guidance to nudge them along. So the virtual coworker model allows you to take that wish list. Your product champion takes the wish list that's solicited from the users, come to us and say, we want to do these things. How do we do those? What's the best way? How do we avoid the pitfalls? And we'll give best practices, we'll give hints, we'll give tips. And a lot of times if it's simple enough, we'll just do it and show you how it's done so that your people can learn to be self-sufficient in the future. But the idea is that we're there for you for that fixed monthly price. It works a lot like having a personal trainer at a gym. So I've had gym memberships in my past, and I don't know if you're like me, but I'll go and jump on the treadmill, maybe hit the weight room a couple times, then within a couple months I'm not using it anymore. That's what happens with CRM a lot too. But if you go to a gym, they've shown studies that if you get a personal trainer who's going to talk about your goals, talk about your needs, tell you how to use the equipment properly, how to get you on a schedule. They're going to check in on you and make sure that you're using everything properly, taking full advantage of the gym resources. So if you get a personal trainer, you're going to get a lot more from your gym membership and you're going to reach your goals a lot faster. That's essentially what the virtual coworker program is. So if any of that appeals to you, give me a shout. You can reach me on LinkedIn. You can comment below in the YouTube comments here or the LinkedIn comments, and just let me know about that. We'll put a link to the virtual coworker program in the description of the video, but the idea is that with that virtual coworker model, you're going to get expert guidance on an unlimited basis for a fixed monthly fee. And that expert guidance includes how do I do this? How do I do that? What's the best way to do these things? What have other companies done? And once we get to know you, we do our best to be proactive and share with you things that are cool that Microsoft is doing that will help you reach your goals faster. The other thing that we do is, I mentioned, brag maybe, that I'm the world's laziest salesperson. And so we've built a series of add-ons. And these add-ons take Microsoft Dynamics, they take the CRM in a can product, that starter CRM, and they extend it. And the goal is to make things easier for sales reps like me. So one example is this thing called Easy Buttons, which is essentially just, it takes things that will take you 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 clicks and turns it into a single push button. So as a sales rep, if I need to send someone a white paper, I don't need to go find the white paper, draft up an email, and go send it off. I can just push the easy button that says send that CRM white paper. Or if a customer asks for their bills, I can just push that button. And some of these easy buttons are pretty easy to program. Some of them take a little bit more time. But the key thing is you do it once, it turns it into an easy button. The sales reps, the service people take full advantage of that. And there's another reason to use CRM. And it's those little things, those little improvements that build up that culture, that crawl, walk, run culture, that iterative process that shows your team that CRM is there for them. And that's going to get the adoption up. And once the adoption is up, management goals will be met. So once you get people using the system and you're not spending all your time browbeating them and begging them and pleading with them and threatening them to use the software, the adoption goes way up because they want to use it because you've made their lives easier. Well, then the management will start to see data to make better informed choices, data to make decisions about the here and now, but also in the future. And you'll be able to have a comfort level that you're knowing that everything is working the way you want it to be. So that's it for today. That's how you make it stick. And so those 4 tips hopefully will help you out. And if there's any questions, just reach out. I'm happy to help. We'll see you next time. Thanks, y'all.